When I married Jason, I thought I was getting a husband. Actually, I was just getting another child.
Each time we're apart, I learn another reason that I love her, and I just hope I haven't lost the chance to prove it to her.
I couldn't get into my own home. I was crying, saying, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Did you ask her to get out your house?
Yes.
So you think she used her disease as a crutch?
Yes.
This marriage is ending over finances. Is that you think your wife's disease is a crutch and she's just lazy and doesn't want to contribute to the household, and she married you to have you going to work and getting all the money and everything she wants, and you want some help financially.
It's an equal thing.
It's not equal if you don't marry equal. If you want somebody equal, you got to think about that before you marry.
Now Jason and Christy Catanaccio are divorcing for the second time, and she wants him to pay spousal support. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Christy Catanaccio and Jason Catanaccio. I understand you've been married for, well, this is interesting. You've been married 2 times. First time around, 2.5 years, divorced, remarried. Second time around, 2 years. Getting less and less. Don't let it be a third time. And now you're divorcing, and you say it's your preschool child who's caused this marriage to fall apart. Tell me about it. How does a child cause a marriage to fall apart?
Well, that's what Jason said. Basically, the problem is that whenever we're all 3 together, they argue.
They argue?
Yeah.
What do you mean by argue?
No, I told you to go do it now, and I want you to go do it now. And she said, no, I'll do it later. And
what am I supposed to do? Just let her do what she wants?
So he's trying to convince her to go and do it.
Right. Instead of just saying, go clean your room now, that's it. You know, just trying to convince her.
How would you handle that same situation?
Well, if
she told you no.
Watching TV or something, I admit sometimes I did the same thing.
No, but what would you do differently?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Then if she was playing a video game or watching TV, I'd just go over and shut it off, tell her to go to her room, clean her room, and she can't come out until it's done.
Would you give her a little help to get her to the room to start cleaning it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. But he sits there and goes back and forth. Go clean your room, go clean your room. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Go clean your room. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that's not
how... That's not argument.
That's not how it worked.
How did it work?
I would tell her to do something. She'd give me a little bit of mouth, and, you know, we'd argue for a minute, and then finally
okay, what do you mean by argue and mouth? You give me your scenario.
I sit there and for example, you know, if I told her, you know, we need to stop playing, we need to clean up or whatever, and she'd tell me no, and she'd say, I don't want to, or I'll do it later or whatever, I'll just sit there and tell her, no, you need to, and then she'll get all upset, and if she carries on, I'll make her stand in the corner, or I'll, you know, tell her she can't go outside and play, but I discipline my daughter.
Well, it sounds like what you're doing is reasonable, responsive behavior. So how is this causing a conflict in the marriage?
Oh, that's not the only part of it.
Well, you better tell me something else, because that only sounds like what parents go through with kids.
Well, then when he finally does have to punish her, I think the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Like,
kids don't, she's not committing a crime. She's just being a little disobedient.
You know what? That's just as a saying. Instead of saying, well, then you're grounded for tonight, you can't watch any TV, you have to stay in your room, you know, something like that, or no TV for the whole weekend or something, he'll say, you're grounded for the whole weekend, you can't do anything, you can't play outside, you can't go anywhere.
So you think the punishment is too harsh?
Yeah, and then...
So anytime you punish a child as a parent, that's the hardest part about punishing a child, is that it also punishes you in order for you to be able to follow through with it. If you say you can't watch television and there's only one TV in the house, it means you can't watch it either because the kid will be there. Or if you say you can't watch television, you've got to stay there to make sure that you can follow through on the punishment, and that otherwise your words just become bluff words. That's what always happens when you're disciplining children. And that causes you all conflict and ready for a divorce?
No, he thought that he's the one that said that she was causing our relationship to go bad. I never said that.
So
what
do you think is the problem? What's going on in the marriage?
I think the problem, as far as any problem with my daughter, he told me that he didn't want her back in our life because she was causing too many problems. He said he wanted me to sign custody of her over to my parents and we could start a new family. And
you thought because you started a new family, you wouldn't have the same problems?
No, that's not how it went. Is we had a lot of issues, and we needed to get through our issues first. And we were doing great while my daughter was out.
She was staying with my parents while we were trying to reconcile.
So wait a minute, you had issues and you thought if she stayed with your parents,
I let her
until
stay
you got
there.
through your issues, then the two of you could have your own family and be okay.
No, my parents had my daughter for a month and a half when we went to try to reconcile, because I didn't want to bring her back into a bad situation until I knew it was secure.
Hold on. Maybe we can get to something. You met on what? On the chat line, I'm told.
Yes.
That old internet chat line again, right?
Bad mistake.
That's it.
Bad mistake.
Whew, that's becoming a bad word to me. I think they need to cut that one off.
Yeah.
You met on the chat line. Became lovers on the chat line.
Right.
Finally met in person.
Right.
So then you knew she had a child once you met her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the child was about how old at that time?
3 months when we met.
3 months old?
Yes.
So you're going in with an infant that basically is going to become your child. Were you fully aware of that?
Yes.
Didn't have a problem with it?
Not one.
He wanted to be your
so then
daddy.
what happened? Because you only stayed married for 2 years, so the kid learns to talk at one, and all of a sudden you divorce him? What happened in those first 2 years?
I thought our relationship was basically pretty good. I have a chronic disease, intestinal disease that causes a lot of pain, and I had to have surgery to have 3 feet of my intestine removed, so I was out of work.
Sorry to hear that.
And
What do you have?
Crohn's disease. And he didn't like me being out of work. And a lot of times I was too sick. Then I had the surgery and was out of work for quite a while from the surgery. And that was part of the problem in our marriage, because
Finances.
I wasn't financially helping him financially,
But this was happening before the surgery as well.
But I was sick from the infection that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life.
So you were sick and you couldn't work long hours and couldn't work steadily.
I would get a job and I would keep it for a while, and then my disease would come out of remission and I would get sick and I would lose my job.
But your disease must have came out of remission 6-7 times a year then.
And isn't that possible, Mr. Catenaccio?
No, I'm not a doctor, but I don't believe so.
Well, so since you're not a doctor and you don't believe so, did you educate yourself on it to find out?
I tried to. I tried to learn as much as possible.
So what you're basically saying is you think she was faking it. She really could have gone to work.
No, not all the
was.
time. A lot of the times she used her illness to get it back out of arguments. If she wasn't getting along with somebody at her job, she'd, they're causing me stress.
It gets worse with stress. That's part of the disease.
I understand that,
it
but
makes my disease worse. Stress does.
So you think she used her disease as a crutch?
Yes.
When divorce court continues.
I couldn't get into my own home. I was crying, saying, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Is your marriage ending because your spouse is too controlling? Call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Jason Catenaccio, who says his wife Christy pretended to be sick so she would not have to work.
Well, excuse me. When you get married to somebody that's sick, and you know that when you're sick, you push yourself to go to work when you have to because you're the only one doing it. But isn't it reasonable for her to marry somebody who's able to work and take care of her and her daughter, that she would not want to have to go to work as much? What's wrong with that?
I have no problems with her not wanting to go to work,
Well, you got to take them as you find them. If
I
you wanted
told him
somebody
I
who
had-
could hold down a job 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and you wanted to make sure that they could do that, you shouldn't have married somebody with Crohn's disease.
She was
I
doing
told
it.
him I
She was
had
doing it when I
Crohn's
married her.
disease.
She was working when I married her. I didn't know that.
No, you got me a job before we got married.
So you're thinking that she's using her disease as a crutch, and you have problems in terms of disciplining your daughter. So that's what caused the first breakup, right?
Yes.
So how long were you divorced before you remarried?
About a little over a year, I'm guessing.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
So what made you want to go back to this lazy woman who didn't want to work, who was using her sickness as a crutch?
I had changed myself a lot, and we had talked over the phone, and she had sounded like she had made some really good changes in her life, and I thought that we needed to give each other another chance, because I honestly love her. I love her a lot, and I love my daughter,
But you don't love her enough to put up with her illness.
I love her. I love her, and I know I have to deal with her illness. I just think I felt like I was getting used because there was every moment there was something about my disease. But she was okay when she wanted to go shopping or hang out with my mother. There was any time like that, it was fine.
So you think she's just spending up your money while you go out and work hard?
No,
I don't care that she
not
spent the money.
true.
It's just she wasn't contributing.
That's
to
what
the
I mean.
family.
She's
That's
spending
not
up your
true.
money, not contributing to the household while you're out working hard, and then she claiming that she's sick, but she's out spending up money.
That's not true.
Okay, so you got back together the second time around. So what happened with your child? Once you got remarried?
I got sick, and he, he just.
You went to the
didn't-
hospital this time around, right?
I had the surgery during the first marriage, but I had gone to the hospital several times.
All right.
They've tried me on all kinds of drugs, even
So you
cancer
got
drugs.
sick again the second time around.
Right.
And what happened?
And I believe I lost my job, and he told my daughter that he said that I was lazy, fat and lazy, and that he hoped that she would not grow up to be like me and not work and be fat and lazy.
So basically, this marriage is not ending over a 4-year-old and a preschooler.
Not to
This
me.
marriage is ending over finances. Is that you think your wife's disease is a crutch and she's just lazy and doesn't want to contribute to the household, and she married you to have you going to work and getting all the money and everything that she wants, and you want some help financially?
I initially didn't think that she married me for financial support.
He doesn't
But
make that much.
She tells me that she needs emotional support and she wants to be loved.
She's telling you that she needs that.
That she needs that. We've been in counseling, and and I agree, she needs that.
And so do you.
I need that as well. But I told her the one other thing I need is to know that I got financial support, that I can help count. I can count on her. We both want nice
What
things.
kind of money do you make that you thinking you just spending? You just the cash king. What kind of money you making?
I make about $40,000 a year.
And she's making nothing.
Not.
And you want somebody that's able to contribute to the household financially so that you can do more things.
What you want? She got a brand new car. I mean, we
When
bought
I was working, making more than you, I was working 7 days a week, making more
that-
money than you. Yes, I went and bought a new car
but that
because I was
lasted
also
for-
making. I also bought you a new car, and I was making both car payments.
I don't
Oh, and
remember
now you
that.
can't do that.
Well, no, I got. That's when I got sick again, and they put me on that cancer drug, and I've been sick since.
So you're at the worst part, and now that you're at the worst, you want out.
No, not at the worst.
His is only for better, not for worse.
Okay. That's all I've heard is that the finances. I want some help. I want some help. I want some help. You need to think about that.
It's an equal thing. If you
It's
both
not
want,
equal if you don't marry equal. If you marry someone who has a disease, who has a sickness, whose disease is it limits your ability to work and to earn a living, it's not going to be equal financially. If you want somebody equal, you got to think about that before you marry.
The divorce court continues.
She left. And there's an old saying that says it's cheaper to keep.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Christy versus Jason Catanaccio. Jason says Christy's 5-year-old daughter broke up his marriage.
we talked about her staying at home and me, us going to a lower level of having things, not having a nice car, get a not so sporty car or whatever, and not go out to dinner all the time. But she said, I want to work. I want to work.
So, Mr.
Because
Catanaccio, why you can't be
criticize
satisfied?
me.
She works when she can. When she earns that money, you put it aside.
It never
for the
worked
hard
that,
times.
It never worked that way. Her and
Oh.
Walmart were stuck hip to hip.
Okay. She wants spousal support now. Because she
Well-
can't
Because he
work.
kicked
Well-
me. He kicked me out. I came home from work one day. He said, I want you out. I want you out right now. I left for 2 days to go and, give him time to cool down because I didn't know what it was about. I just came home, walked in, and he told me that. I came back 2 days later. He had changed the locks. I couldn't get into my own home. I went in there. I was on the floor. He finally let me in. I was crying, saying, "Why are you doing this to me? I love you. Why are you doing this to me?" And he said, "Are you almost done? I have to get back to sleep. I'm going to work tonight," and made me leave. And so I had to pick up and take what little stuff I could in my car and drive all the way to Florida because I didn't have anywhere to go in Texas.
The reason I locked the doors is from our previous marriage.
Because you were seeing? Never mind.
No.
She took everything out when she left.
She took everything out. She was so evil. She told me to take my daughter to my parents' house and spend time with them because they were leaving. And I came back a couple hours later.
She took everything.
State troopers in front of our house.
Because you told me you would not bring her home.
Okay, wait a minute.
I wasn't bringing her home right then and there.
So what he's saying is the last time you separated, you cleaned him out. This time he wasn't going to let you clean him out. Come on now.
After I just got a lawsuit settlement for a back injury and bought all the new furniture that's in the house. He wouldn't let me have any of it.
Okay, so you guys go see a mediator about dividing the furniture.
Right.
But what he's saying is I'm not going to be wiped out twice.
As far as the spousal support,
Yeah, what about
I'd much rather have her back because there wouldn't be any difference from me paying spousal support than her living with me.
You should have thought about that before you told her to leave.
Well,
you can't have your cake and your ice cream. You should have thought about that before you told her to leave. Because as your wife, you were paying for her. That's what a wife and husband is. It's a team. She contributes to the household. You were working. You knew she had an illness when you met.
To the household.
Be quiet. Should have used that logic and reasoning before. Now you're going to pay spousal support. She's going to live somewhere else, and you won't even get to have the cookies.
I came home
I
and
wanna
I
hear
cleaned.
it.
No, I cleaned up after everything. I worked to 6 in the morning. I would take my daughter to school.
Did you tell her to leave? Did you tell her to leave?
I asked her to leave.
Just hush. Did you ask her to get out your house?
Yes.
Did you tell her and her daughter to get out your house?
I never said that to my daughter.
Your daughter was already gone, right?
My daughter was already gone.
Okay, so and then you told your wife to leave. So now you got rid of both of them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now you got what you asked for. Be careful what you say. Sometimes it gets answered. She left. And you know there's an old saying that says it's cheaper to keep.
The divorce court continues.
She's getting support from her boyfriend.
Well, at least she found somebody that'll support her because you didn't want to.
Divorce court continues in the case of Christy Catanaccio, who is divorcing her husband Jason for the second time.
One of the things you've got to do is change your attitude about this equal contribution. That's a misconception.
I have now.
Okay.
I like she said.
Okay, I'm going to make the spousal support order. If the two of you get back together, the order goes out the window. As long as you're apart, you're going to pay the money.
She's getting support from her boyfriend.
Well, at least she found somebody that'll support her because you didn't want to.
I've bought clothes for my daughter since I've been in Texas, since they've been apart.
Okay, Mr. Catanaccio, I'm going to spare you. She's not your biological child. You no longer have a legal responsibility for her. Whatever you do for her morally, that's your decision. And I would hope that since you've been her father for 6 years and you accepted that role, that you will continue to play some part in her life for her emotional security. But I won't order you, and the court won't order you to pay support for the child. However, I'm going to order spousal support, but it's not going to be a long time because your marriage was in and out. And it's basically now it's been a 2-year marriage or less.
That we incurred together that I still have to pay for daily.
The debts you pay equally. You're each responsible for them.
Now, how do I get her to do that, being 1,258 miles away?
You should have asked me, and I would have told you, but you didn't ask me.
Well, could you?
Nope, you didn't request it before. Talk to the mediator. She can explain it to you.
All right.
All right? Spousal support, $400 a month for 1 year. That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Oh, boy.
That was interesting.
If you want an equal financial partner, then why don't you figure that out before you marry somebody who has a lot of illness?
or adjust your
I mean, going
living.
in, none of us know what our lives will be like and how long we'll be able to work and whether we'll get a disease after you get married or when you're married. You don't know what's going to happen.
When I married my husband, he promised to love me through sickness and in health. I've been sick for a very long time, and he just abandoned me, so I'm just fed up with it.
I'm just tired and fed up. I think my wife is just lazy.
My doctor told him that I can't do a lot of activity.
So he thinks you're faking.
Yes, ma'am.
And he thinks you can contribute more than what you are saying that you can do.
Yes, he tells me that my cooking is not like his mom's.
Then go back home to your mom.
He told me to stop washing his clothes, and he'll wash his own. I said, fine.
Well, he's doing you a favor if you don't have to wash his clothes. Why are you upset about that? Who wants to wash somebody else's dirty drawers if they don't have to?
Serena Giger says her husband Charlie Wade neglects their 2-year-old son, and she wants the judge to order him to pay child support. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Serena Giger versus Charlie Wade Jr. I understand that you've been married for 2.5 years, that you're asking for a divorce. You want him to pay you child support for your one child. And the reason this marriage is ending is because your husband can't accept the fact that you're ill with chronic lymphedema.
Yes, ma'am.
And is not real supportive of you as a wife. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
Well, when I married Charlie, he promised to love me through sickness and health. And I've been sick for a very, very long time. And he just abandoned me and my child. I have a chronic condition that's called lymphedema. What it is poor circulation in my leg. It causes my leg to swell. If I stand on it too long, it swells. If I stand on it even more, then I get real sick. It turns into something that's called cellulitis. And so I have to be bedridden for a while, and I won't be able to take care of my child. All I asked Charlie to do was to help me with Christian, and he's been real neglecting as far as just that.
How old is your son?
He's 2.
And what do you have to do? Why do you have to stand on your leg? What kind of work do you do?
Well, I can't work anymore.
So you're on disability?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and you ask him when he comes home to help you with your son?
Yes, and he won't. He'll sit there, watch WWF, all the sports. He doesn't miss one. And then he goes out and play basketball when someone calls.
And he leaves his son?
Yes.
And that's what you're upset about, and that's why you want a divorce, because he doesn't play with your son?
No, that's
Tell me
only
that.
part.
Yeah, thank you very much. Tell me why I don't believe that.
I'm sorry.
There's something else going on other than the fact that he doesn't play with your son.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I've been sick for a very long time. I have the condition I told you about. When my sickness got worse, then he started saying, well, I don't think you're sick. I think you need to get a job. I've been to the doctor. He's been with me on several occasions. My doctor told him that I can't do a lot of activity.
So he thinks you're faking it?
Yes, ma'am.
And he thinks you can contribute more than what you are saying that you can do?
Yes. My doctor has actually told him on several occasions that I can't do a certain amount of anything.
So he said you can't do a certain amount. There are levels of disability. Did he say you can't work at all? You can't stand on your legs a long time?
He said I can't work at all.
You can't sit? You can't do anything?
He said, well, I'm sorry, it's a she. She said that I can't work at all.
You're
But
totally
it's
disabled?
Totally disabled.
Yeah.
I do work around
Hold on a second. I'm about to get to you.
I do work around the house, okay?
What do you do around the house?
Wifely duties. I cook for him. He
Well,
tells me,
that all depends, because now some wives cook, clean, wash, iron, and all of that, and some wives don't, like me. See, I rarely cooked. So I don't know whether that's a wifely duty or not. So what is your wifely duty?
okay, well, my wifely duty is to cook, clean, do all of what you just said to the best of my ability. I do all that. He's not appreciative, I'm sorry. He tells me that my cooking is not like his mom's. I can't wash
Then go
clothes.
back home to your mom.
He tells me the washing is not like his mom. He told me to stop washing his clothes and he'll wash his own. I said, fine.
Well, he's doing you a favor. If you don't have to wash his clothes, why are you upset about that?
Well, I'm not upset about that.
Yes,
he
he is.
Who wants to wash somebody else's dirty drawers if they don't have to?
That's not why I'm mad. I'm mad because he'll tell me that. We get in public. She don't do this for that. She don't do that for me. You know, and I'm like,
True. That's not true, young.
why are you saying that?
Let me hear from you now, because you just keep saying that's not true. First of all, let's start it. Take it in order. She said that you're upset about her illness and that you won't help her with your son. All you do is sit there and flip the button.
I can't
You know
flip
what I
the
mean?
button. I can't
Oh, you
flip
don't
the
have
button.
remote control?
I have remote control,
Yes,
but
he does.
how can I flip the button if I work at night?
Because don't you have TV don't work during the day in your area?
I be asleep during the day.
Oh, and you sleep all day.
I sleep. I come in about 5 or 6 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I try to get me a bite to eat. Then I get in the bed or lay on the couch and fall asleep. By the time I wake back up, it's be like 2:30, 3 o'clock. It's time for me to go back to work.
So once you go to sleep, once you get a bite to eat, when you get off from work,
Yes, ma'am.
and you go to sleep on the couch,
Yes.
you never wake up until it's time to go back to work.
It's about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
So when she says that you don't spend any time with your son, then she's not lying.
Right. Before I even got the nighttime job, I used to watch wrestling with him, but she stopped because he was putting our niece and nephew in headlock, and she was scared because he was gonna
Your
break a neck.
2-year-old was putting your niece and nephew in a headlock?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
4, 5.
Well, how big is this 2-year-old?
He weighed about 40 pounds.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
So he's as big as a 4 and 5-year-old.
Yes.
Do you have a picture of this little fella?
No, ma'am.
And he's putting them in a headlock?
Yes, ma'am. I had to drag him off my nephew one day. They were wrestling in my cousin's kitchen. He had me in a headlock. My little nephew was screaming, "Get him off! Get him off!"
So you had to stop watching wrestling with him?
Yes, cause she thought he was gonna hurt one of the nieces.
Well,
and
it
nephew.
sounds like he may have choked one to death at that point. At the
Yeah,
rate he's
sure.
going.
And then I stopped watching wrestling.
And you couldn't think of anything else on TV to watch since you couldn't watch wrestling. Because that's the only game in town.
Not at that time.
Oh, come off of it. So you couldn't do anything else with this 2-year-old child once you were no longer able to watch wrestling with him?
That was before I even switched jobs.
That was my point. You couldn't figure out anything else to do with a 2-year-old.
No, man.
Why you couldn't go outside and just throw the ball back and forth to each other? Don't know how to play that game?
I know how to play that game, y'all.
Why you couldn't sit down in the floor and get some building blocks and build something with it?
So he didn't feel like it.
You don't know how to play that game either?
Yeah, I know how to play
What
that
about
game.
some Legos? Why you couldn't put something together?
Put something together.
Why you couldn't teach him his colors, his ABCs, his numbers? You couldn't think of anything to do with a 2-year-old?
Not at that time.
No, you didn't want to do anything with a 2-year-old because it bores you. You enjoyed wrestling. You don't enjoy spending time with a 2-year-old because you don't know how to act like a 2-year-old and get down to his level and teach him something, right?
Right.
You didn't want to. That's what a parent does.
When divorce court continues.
You said it only happened the last 2 weeks before he left. Then when I push you, you say every blue moon. If I push you again, you're going to tell me how many blue moons, huh?
Is your marriage ending because your spouse is too controlling? Call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Serena Giger, who says her husband Charlie Wade neglects their young son.
So what do you think your role is as a parent for this 2-year-old?
To be a father to him.
Well, what does that mean?
To supply what he needs until he get old enough to find him a job.
And is that only financially you support him in buying food?
Financially and spend time with him.
Yeah, you need to do more than buy him things. You need to give him quality time. You need to provide him emotional security. You need to nurture him. You need to teach him when you're watching wrestling that that is a sport that people get paid for, but he doesn't practice that when he's playing with others. You can teach some lessons. Why are you watching the wrestling match? You didn't think that was your job?
I just enjoyed watching him wrestle.
No, but I'm saying you didn't think that nurturing your son is your job? Just providing for him?
Yes, that's my job.
Oh, so you work hard, though?
I work hard.
And so
very
you're
hard.
mad because your wife doesn't work?
Nah, I ain't get mad at first, but as things started getting harder for the family, I started getting mad. You know, she wouldn't, certain things in the household wasn't taken care of when I come home.
Like
and then,
what?
I like cleaning.
So she stopped cleaning your house?
Stop cleaning.
And what else?
I told her to stop washing my clothes. I started washing my own clothes.
Why you didn't like the way she washed your clothes?
Well, because my clothes was shrinking on me.
Oh, so she wasn't
not
washing them
true, Your
properly.
Honor.
And you told her I'd do it myself.
Yeah.
So do you think your wife is feigning her disease? Do you think she's a hypochondriac? Do you think she's faking and she can go out and get a job and help you out financially? Is that what your attitude is?
Nah, my attitude is like this. If she can go out with her girlfriend and stay out wee hours of the morning and party 2 or 3 times a week,
And do
then party 2 or 3 times
So
a
you
week,
think she's
and
a
then,
party animal?
and then come back home and then talk about if I have an important errand I need her to run, she forgetting about who's at home.
She thought she's tired then.
Yeah,
huh?
she tired. But
not true,
when I explained to her, you need to stop cutting out doing stuff and start resting, she ain't want to hear it.
So you say she spends a lot of time in the streets with her girlfriend,
Yes.
and when she could be resting,
When she could
neglected
be
items
resting.
at the house,
At
like
the house,
cleaning,
resting.
and then she says she can't go get a job.
Right.
What about that?
Well,
You don't go out with your girlfriends.
I only did that the last 2 weeks that we were together.
Oh, just the last 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't ever happen before then.
Yes, it
Every
happened
blue
before
moon,
then.
I went out with
Every
my mom.
what? Every what?
Every blue moon.
So it did
And then-
happen.
It did.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, first of all, you said it only happened. You know what the word only means? You said it only happened the last 2 weeks before he left. Then when I push you, you say every blue moon. If I push you again, you're going to tell me how many blue moons, huh?
No, ma'am. I mean, what I call every blue moon, maybe every other month, I would go out with my mom
That's
or
right.
something.
That's right.
It
And
was,
when you
it
go
was a
out with
lot.
your mom every other month, was it for 2 or 3 days at a time, or for 1 hour, or for what?
We may be gone maybe 4 or 5 hours, and
And what would you do when you're gone out with your mom?
to the movies, out to eat, because we didn't
Your
spend
mom.
very much time together.
You forgot about your
And
girlfriend.
When I was going out with my girlfriends,
When you were going out with them,
yes, that's
every
like-
blue moon,
Every
Yes.
blue moon, they would take me out because they saw how depressed I was from being at home all the
and
time.
where would you go with your girlfriends?
Same place, to the movies or out to eat or something.
What about the
And
club?
you know, I never got.
What about the
Did you
club?
go to the clubs?
What about the club?
I went to the club twice.
You
Oh,
went
so
to the
just
club more
twice,
than
and how?
twice.
In what period of time?
This whole year, I don't go to
Every
clubs.
blue moon.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I don't go to clubs very
So
often.
now you hear what you said. It started out, I only went out 2 times before, the 2 weeks before we divorced. When he said, started reminding you, oh yeah, I go out with my girlfriends, but only twice. And yes, I do go out with my mother, but only once a month. And when I do go out with my girlfriends, but it's only been 2 times, you're not telling me the whole truth.
Well, yes, I am. I'm trying to get it all out.
Yeah, well, come on and get it out and tell it all right.
Okay.
Wait a minute, but before you try to get it all out, take a moment to think. So when I tell her this, I can tell her the whole truth. Take a minute, think about it. How often do I go out? Where, when? Don't try to figure out what I'm going to think about that and how it's going to make me feel. See, you're trying to sugarcoat.
The divorce court continues.
So you mad at him because he's not paying for childcare. If you look at your budget, you can't afford it.
Well, that's not the only thing I'm mad about, Your Honor. I mean, he doesn't spend any time with him.
Okay, so now when you divorce him, who's going to spend time with him?
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. Is your marriage ending because your spouse is too controlling? Call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Charlie Wayne, who says his wife Serena Giger uses her illness as an excuse to be lazy.
I stay sick most of the time. I'm heavily medicated a lot of the times. So it's not very much I can do around the house, so I can't go out. So when I do get a chance to go out, you know, it's not very often. And so, you know, that's why I said it was every blue moon. Now, like I said, with the
every blue moon.
girlfriends, with the girlfriends, it was like the last 2 weeks I went out. When he said I went out,
It
you
was
know,
more than
2 or
2
3 times a
weeks.
week, that was the last 2 weeks.
The last 2 weeks of your relationships?
Yes.
Since before you separated?
Right.
And why'd you go out with your girlfriends before you separated?
To get away from him. I couldn't stand him constantly telling me, you know, you need to get a job, you need to do this, you need to do that, and him not spending very much time with my child.
So
I
who
would
took
have-
care of your son when you went
I
out?
had to find a babysitter.
You found a babysitter?
That's not true.
Yes.
That's not true.
So you found a babysitter to go out and you on disability and he's working?
Yes, ma'am.
not true.
Your Honor, you know, all the time that I've been sick, you know, I asked for support from him, and he wouldn't give it to me.
How do
He
you
started
get support?
telling me
Support.
that
Who's
his
working?
female friends were more important to talk to than me. I said, talk to me. You don't understand where I'm coming from. Well, please explain to me. It ain't gonna do no good.
I
I'd
did
rather talk
explain
to
to her.
What did you explain to her?
I explained to her what was going on, what's the problem between me and her, but she never did. comprehend.
So she wouldn't tell you what the problem was.
When I come to her and say I have a problem, we need to solve, or
And what kind of problems would you have with her?
well, something about my son, the house, you know. When I come to her, talk to her, and say we need to do something about this, she don't want to do, she don't do nothing about it. She'll wait 2 or 3 weeks later, then try to do something about it. Then I'm mad about what she want to do about it. Then it don't work like that.
You all sound like two little silly children.
Your Honor, the things that he's saying, he doesn't want me to put my child in daycare. I go to the doctor a whole
can't
lot.
afford
He
daycare.
doesn't
Why
want
do you need your child in daycare?
because I go to the
daycare.
doctor 2 or 3 times a week.
Come on, Mrs. Gigger.
Yes, ma'am.
You are on a disability, right?
Yes.
He's working. According to these papers, you earn about $1,225 a month, right?
Yeah.
And you have a son. You got to pay all the bills. What's your disability check per month?
Well, it's been reduced now to about $430 a month.
Now tell me, why do you have to put your child in child care?
Well, for one, so he can interact with other children. He doesn't get a chance to do that a lot. And two,
Take him to the park and let him interact with other children at the park.
I can't do that all the time, Your Honor, because I'm sick half the time. So I do what I can at home with
And
him.
how much will child care cost you?
About $200 a month.
And how much is your rent and all your other bills?
Rent $300, light bill is over $100 and something.
So can you really afford it? Is all
No.
I'm asking. It is a wonderful thing for your child to be able to interact with other children, for him to learn social skills, for him to learn his ABCs, his numbers, his counting, and all of those other things in preschool. But all of us can't afford it. So if you can't afford it, you have to do it at home. And you can sit down and teach him his ABCs.
Well, I do that, Your Honor, but I
My
ask for some
hairdresser
help.
can't put her son in preschool. She brings him to the salon. She has learning tapes for him on the television.
He has all
He's
that.
learning his multiplication tables. The
have
young
it.
boy is 4 years old and knows all of his multiplication tables. He can read a book to you. He knows all of his ABCs. And she's doing a job because she has to work, can't afford childcare. So you do what you have to do. So you mad at him because he's not paying for childcare. If you look at your budget, you can't afford it.
I explained to her
Well,
why we
that's not
can.
the only thing I'm mad about, Your Honor. I mean, he doesn't spend any time with him.
Okay, so now when you divorce him, who's going to spend time with him?
Well, I'm still going to be spending time with him.
The divorce court continues.
That's what your problem is. You have too much free time and you haven't figured out how to fulfill your life. And you worried about him helping you to find happiness and to find some satisfaction in life.
Divorce court continues in the case of Serena Gigger, who wants her husband Charlie Wade to pay child support for their son.
You know what the problem is, and I'm going to say this. I feel sorry for you, and I understand your sickness. I'm not making light of it at all. But what people need to learn to do is that when you're sick and when you have an illness that does not allow you to do as much as you'd like to do, you find other things to do. Your problem is you have too much free time at home alone as an adult with a 2-year-old child, and you're bored to death. And so now you're picking because your husband is not there. See, what you need to do is, I can't go to work every day. But guess what? If I go out and go over to the blind center and read to a blind person for an hour a day, if I go to a convalescent care center and sit with an older person for 30 minutes a day, if I go to the children's hospital and take some toys or read to a kid for 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day, there's so many things you can do to occupy your time. That's what your problem is. You have too much free time and you haven't figured out how to fulfill your life. And you worried about him helping you to find happiness and to find some satisfaction in life. Get a hobby, read, learn how to sew, learn how to knit. You have a lot of things you can learn how to do even though you can't go to work and even though you're at home a lot. There are things you can do. You can broaden your horizon. There are mommy clubs. If there are not any, form some. I bet there are a lot of other women in your neighborhood that are not going to work and that are at home with their 2-year-olds. Maybe a bunch of you can go to the park together.
She don't
And you
want
can take the
associate with
kids
those
to the
women.
park. And so you can't run and play with them, but you can sit there while your neighbors run and play with them. Put on your thinking cap. What can I do?
She don't want our son to play with our neighbors.
Well, so since you're divorcing, you got to figure it out because he won't be there a lot. You have to pay the child support, though. And she's not working, and you have another child. Are you paying support for that other child, Mr.
No,
Wade?
ma'am.
You're not?
No, ma'am.
Well, you should be. And now that you're not, I'm going to make sure that somebody knows that there's another child out there you're not paying support. I'm going to order for support for this child of $250 per month, payable 1/2 on the 1st and the 15th day of each month. All right? That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
She's just bored at home with no one there but a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old you can only say so much to. After a while, you need somebody else to talk to.
That's right.
And you know what? The problem that she's complaining that her husband comes home from work and he doesn't spend time with the child. Unfortunately, his work schedule doesn't permit him to spend a lot of time with the child.
I want the judge to know that I married a mama's boy and not a man. And I'm ready for a divorce. I'm ready to get on with my life.
My wife says I'm a mama's boy, but she was too busy partying to be ready for marriage.
So why did she call you mama's boy?
He always wanted me to go down there and sit in her face. Sit in her face for what?
But one thing, you need to sit in somebody's face. She didn't know how to cook everything.
And you wanted her to go take lessons from your mother?
Yeah, somebody.
Well, I don't know how to cook that backwood Bama food, okay?
What happened with the
I
cabbage?
don't know how I ain't never cooked cabbage in my life. I tried, put it in a pot of water, it was floating around.
You don't put it
Now, anytime you can't boil a cabbage, you got a problem. So why would you marry somebody if that was important to you?
I guess I was just hooked on the sex. I don't know.
Lisa Booz says she can no longer compete with her mother-in-law for her husband Mario's attention. Now she wants him to pay her spousal support. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Mario Booz versus Lisa Booz. And I'm advised that you've been married for about 5 years, right?
Yes.
And you're about to divorce. And you say it's because you married a mama's boy and he couldn't leave mama's house and couldn't stop sucking his thumb and running back home to mama all the time. You said she took your jewelry, went and sold it. All she bought was cigarettes and other junk food, and so you want her to reimburse you for your gold necklace and your gold bracelet. Is that right?
That's right.
So how long did you know this man before you married him, since you say you married
Well,
mama's boy?
I was with him for 4 years. Before I
4
married him.
years?
Yes.
Doing what? Dating him?
Yeah.
Living with him?
Living with him.
Uh-huh.
Dating him.
And during that time, what was he like?
The same way. After we got married.
What was he doing when you were dating him?
He was just being trifling. He would, go out, wouldn't come back for 3 days, He wouldn't come check on to see if I was all right or nothing. And he, just out there doing his thing out there.
For 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Now you know that.
And then what made you marry him?
Stuck on stupid.
What you had to say about all that? Because it's funny to you.
Yeah, because you see that she's not together on this mentally, okay? And it's you know what I'm saying?
All right, so
when I
put us
came
back together mentally. Tell
I
me about it.
came into the marriage with the sense of, I loved her, cared about her, we shared interests, and I wanted to spend my life with her. Okay?
And what interest did you share?
We shared the interest that we could sit down and talk about nearly anything and enjoy each other's time. And that went on for a time. And then
For 4 years, I guess.
yeah. But, after a while, she changed. She started, not wanting to give me sex like I wanted it and wanting to go out with her friends like she was still 16.
And you were working and holding everything together?
Yeah.
What you say about that, Mrs. Booth?
He know he needed to stop. When I met this man, okay, he had on some raggedy shoes. I don't even think he owned a pair of underwear, okay? Of his own, anyway.
Whose underwear was he wearing?
I think it was his brother, because it wasn't his, was it?
When I met,
So what, they were too big? So you married a man that
because
didn't
his
even...
brother, was like, well, where my bikini briefs at, and he had them.
oh my God.
So you married a man that had raggedy shoes, didn't even have his own drawers, And you dated him for 4 years?
Yes, when I got with him, I was going through a little something. I had just got out of a bad relationship. So, I was lonely, and I wanted the company when I first got with him, even though
You could
he
have
had
got a puppy.
even though he had raggedy shoes on and no underwear of his own,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I was lonely.
So it sounded like to me, not only were you lonely, that you wanted a project.
Well, that could be it, yeah. Yeah.
You see that she's kind of not together in the head.
Why you say that?
Goodness.
For the simple reason is that, listen, when she met me, I dressed her nice. That's what attracted her to me. Okay?
You were dressed like you are now.
I always keep myself together.
I'm the one showing him how to dress like that.
No, you
need
didn't.
to stop fronting up him. You need to stop.
You
really need to
Oh,
stop.
my God. So how I was dressed when we met?
He, like them old thugs in the street. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one told him, I said, well, if you want to be with me, you can't be hanging with them riff-raff friends you got. You know what I'm saying?
But you can let go of your friends. But
What
I'm supposed to let go of my friends.
So
What
wait a minute.
friends?
So stop. So you met him. He was hanging with riff-raff friends, your definition.
yes.
Thugs in the street. He didn't have drawers that he owned, raggedy shoes, but yet you were attracted to him?
Well,
this
okay,
amazing?
when I first met him,
What does that say about you?
Yes.
That you like thugs?
That's right.
Well, according to the papers, it said you were attracted to his thick eyebrows
Well,
because
I was,
that's something
yeah.
that turns you on in a man.
Yeah, and he was light-skinned. Of course, now I can't stand nobody with.
Oh, so you were attracted to the color of his skin and his thick eyebrows and his thuggish behavior?
I wasn't attracted to the thuggish behavior.
I had her hooked like a fish, and you know it. Okay, so stop trying to explain
no,
yourself.
And
Like
what
that.
were you throwing out on the hook? What was the bait?
It was me. You know, I brought myself to the party.
And
okay?
what is
see,
yourself?
Myself was I'm a nice human being, and yet you know what I'm saying. At that time, I didn't need nobody.
So why did she call you mama's boy? You cater to your mother more than her?
No.
What do you
I
mean
don't-
by that then?
Because every time something go wrong with us or we have a problem or, you know what I'm saying, he'll go running to her like what's she gonna do?
Well, maybe
Yeah,
she's
like
his
she gonna-
confidant. Maybe she gives him some advice. Maybe she tells him how to handle the problems that you're having. Maybe she's his counselor. Who do you run to when you're having
married
problems?
him. I didn't marry his mama. Whatever situation we go through, that's between me and him, not me, him, his mama, his daddy, everybody in his family.
So you think that he just puts your business in the streets to his family?
Yeah.
So he's not going in for counseling to see what he can do to help save the marriage or resolve the problem that you're having?
Right. And they also had an issue because I'm 7 years older than him.
How old were you when you met?
Well, I was 25,
And how old was he?
18.
Oh, so they thought that you were taking their little boy from them. Did you want to feel younger by going with an 18-year-old?
No, I was young. 25, I was still young. I wasn't, over the hill, down the valley or nothing like that,
Now that's a new one. Either you're over the hill or down in the valley.
When divorce court continues.
What happened with the
I
cabbage?
don't know how I ain't never cooked cabbage in my life. I tried, put it in a pot of water, it was floating around.
You don't put
Now, anytime you can't boil a cabbage, you got a problem.
Is your marriage ending because your spouse criticized your appearance or your weight? Call us at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Lisa Booz, who says her husband Mario is a mama's boy.
So you thought that you could handle an 18-year-old?
I thought I could, and I realized that he just had too much energy for me. I was home, didn't go nowhere, didn't have no friend. People come to the door, I wouldn't answer the door. I talk to him through the door.
Why?
Because, he was a jealous person like that. Go to the bathroom, stay too long, here go Mario.
You mean you couldn't even go in the bathroom and sit and read a paper?
No.
Or read a magazine? Is that right, Mr. Booth?
No, it's not right at all.
What's funny about it?
Because I ain't got no. If you got to do your business or whatever, you're gonna do your business. You know what I'm saying? It's times I don't know why you said
So
that.
what went wrong in this marriage then?
What went wrong is that, I'm sitting trying to keep this family together, okay?
Doing what? Doing what to keep the family together?
Just, I don't know, being patient with him. Understand, okay, that he's younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to
Patience.
be understanding, okay,
So
well,
what was-
you know, you want to, you know.
Where was the patience?
No, I
when-
don't know. So hurry up and tell me something, because I haven't heard anything yet.
Well, I
He
wonder-
wanted to go out and hang with his friends. You know, I didn't have no friends, so he wanted to go out, he get a pager. He walked around for a whole year with a pager that didn't work. And he'll just like turn it off and on just to hear it beep, you know what I'm saying? So once it finally got on, he would have all kind of people paging him. He'll leave, you know, we could be in the middle of something, he'll get up and go on out the door.
So what were you doing, Mr. Booth?
I wasn't doing nothing. That's what the whole.
It won't come home for 3
This
days.
is all a joke to you all?
No, my family is a tight family. If something goes wrong with one of the family, we notify each other, let each other know what's going on with the
So
family.
was always something going wrong in your family?
No. At times, my mother also had my pager number. Okay, my mother was in and out of the hospital. Okay, she had suffered from seizures, and I'm always going to be there for my mother, and I continue to be there for my mother.
And I don't think she has a problem with that. I would think not, Mrs. Booth, do you?
That's not true.
What is
The
true?
woman stayed right down the street from us.
Oh.
Okay, so how she wasn't in no hospital all the time. I mean, if we got in the, that's what we used to sit and argue about, because he always wanted me to go down there and sit in her face. Sit in her face for what?
But one thing, I mean, you need to sit in somebody's face. You didn't know how to cook everything.
What?
I mean, when I wanted something special, man, all you knew how to do was fry or bake. Come on now.
And you wanted her to go take lessons from your mother?
Yeah, somebody. It didn't have to be my
So
mother.
she
somebody.
couldn't cook and prepare the meals the way you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from my whole family's from down south.
You're a Southern boy.
Yeah, well, if you want to call
Well,
it
Florida's
that.
down south where you couldn't
Well,
teach
she
me.
should know how to cook anything under
Well,
the sun.
I don't know how to
Loretta.
cook that backwood Bama food, okay? I
Oh,
don't know
my
how to cook
God.
it.
What is backwood Bama food? Huh? Tell me about
Cornballs
it.
and chitlins and kidney beans and rice and all that. I ain't know how to cook that. So I sit and try. And he'll get on the phone and his mom, look at all the food floating around in the water. You know what I'm saying?
So you couldn't cook the hog maws and chitlins right?
Right. Because that's all he ate, them old kidney beans and them old, I don't know what you call it, got a whole bunch of fat on them.
What happened with the cabbage then? What happened with the
I
cabbage?
don't know how I ain't never cooked cabbage in my life. I
See?
tried, put it in a pot of water, it was floating around.
You don't put it in
know?
water.
You needed to go talk to his mother or go read a book or talk to somebody. Now, anytime you can't boil a cabbage, you got to
I
try.
didn't know how. I didn't eat it, so I didn't know how to cook it.
So what kind of
Greens
food did you
either.
cook from the South?
Nothing. I didn't cook nothing. He was the first, you know what I'm saying, the one that I had to cook for.
Everybody.
So when you left your parents' house, you were living by yourself in your own house. So what'd you do? You ate out or you ate fast foods or what?
Basically.
So you had never had to do all of this cooking?
No.
Oh.
The divorce court continues.
You knew for 4 years a woman could not cook to suit your taste. So why would you marry somebody if that was important to you?
I guess I was just hooked on the sex. I don't know.
Oh, well, let's just tell the truth about it then.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Lisa Booz, who says her husband complains that she does not cook like his mother.
For 4 years, you knew she couldn't cook.
I tried to take the time with her, but you can't lead a horse to water and make him drink it.
And that's right. And so when you knew that
learned
horse
over the
could not
years.
drink the water, you didn't have to marry her.
That's right.
You knew for 4 years a woman could not cook to suit your taste. So why would you marry somebody if that was important to you?
I guess I was just hooked on the sex. I don't know.
Oh, well, let's just tell the truth about it then. So even though she couldn't cook, you didn't like the way she handled herself, you liked the sex, so you said, let's get married.
In a matter of speaking, well, she looked good in her little skirt when she walked down that long hallway. I was tempted by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would caught his eye. The
Oh, so you like what you saw from the back.
Right.
And then after a while, you no longer like that. Or you got tired of him.
He wasn't. I got tired of him because he wasn't coming home. And then, as far as the sex, that ceased too. Because I ain't want him,
Well,
jumping on me.
Come on.
So why'd you have to go sell his gold bracelet and gold and
Because there
necklace?
was no food in the house. I mean, what I supposed to do?
Oh, my God.
I mean, with his is mine and with his mine is his. We was together. It's not like I separated
So
and
you got
sold
two
it.
people working, right?
He wasn't working.
Oh.
How you gonna sit there and lie?
And you have no children.
No children.
And you don't have food in the house?
No food.
How
But
did
you
y'all
didn't
do
like
this?
food in
No
the house
food,
because
no
you didn't want to
taco.
cook it anyway. So why'd you have to go sell the gold bracelet and necklace?
I did cook it just because I didn't cook the way his mama cooked it. I did cook. I got in there. I tried. When he was working, when he came home, the house was clean. The food was cooked, whether it was cooked the way he wanted, and he know for a fact I'll run back and sit in there and wash them.
You ran his bath water and washed
Ran
his
it
back?
and washed them.
Oh, I don't remember
Then
that.
when I fixed the food, I would bring the food to him while he's sitting there.
So now you think that she ought to reimburse you for your gold bracelet and the necklace. How much did you get for it when you sold it?
Probably $20. It
What do you
wasn't
mean
even
probably?
gold.
Stop.
Okay, it was
Probably.
it was
You
a long
sold
time.
it. What'd you get?
about $20
For
because
both?
the necklace ain't gold.
What is it?
What is it?
It's made up to look like gold. It's 10 karat.
Gold plated.
Yeah, gold filled.
So you got $20 for the necklace. What'd you get for the bracelet?
The bracelet, I lost that. It was
Oh.
on my arm and that fell off.
Okay. So you
But
lost the bracelet.
It wasn't no food in the house, so I did what I had to do.
You got $20 and you were able to buy what? Some more cabbage?
Yeah, some more cabbage, some more meat.
And you don't know how to cook cabbage.
And you
I
say, how
learned.
much
Yes, I
was the
do.
bracelet
Now I
and
do.
the
Yes, I
stop.
do.
How much was the bracelet and necklace worth?
The
whole lot
bracelet
now.
was $200 itself with the medallion.
$200, man.
$200.
He ain't never seen $200 at one time in his life. I don't know why he's sitting there front like that.
Oh,
I was over. The stuff out of my back was over $200. How
All
you gonna
right.
say that?
yeah, $200 when you bought it wasn't worth anything once you got it out the store. Please.
The divorce court continues.
That's not why you want a divorce. You found somebody else that you think is going to be better to you than what he was, and you think that grass is greener on the other side. Because it hasn't been cut yet, hasn't been watered, and the seasons haven't changed on it.
Divorce court continues in the case of Mario Booz, who wants his wife Lisa to repay him for his jewelry that she sold.
This is ridiculous. Anytime two people date each other, live together for a while, didn't he move in with you before you married? Live together for 4 years. You know all about each other's habits. You know what you like and what you don't like. You know what you can and can't do. You know how old you are. You know all the pluses and the minuses. No guesswork at all. And then you marry and you come into my courtroom, what, 6 years later, so 6 is your magic number, 6 years later saying, I want a divorce because she can't cook. I want a divorce because he's a mama's boy. That's not what it's all about. And you're playing games. That's not why you want a divorce. You found somebody else that you think is going to give you more than what he's giving you and is going to be better to you than what he was, and you think that grass is greener on the other side because it's fresh grass. Hasn't been cut yet, hasn't been watered, and the seasons haven't changed on it. So you haven't gone through winter, spring, summer, and fall, and the grass is looking real good. I don't know why you're not with your wife and why you can't stay at home and gotta stay out all the time, and you think that you gotta come to mama. Mama is right, you're right. Your mother is an important person in your life. But when you're married, it said forsaking all others. So your wife comes first in your relationship. Your mother had your father, right?
Yep.
And other siblings. You had other sisters and brothers?
Yep.
All right. Trust me, I'm a mama's girl. There is nothing I wouldn't do for my mother in the world. Nothing. But there are times you have to put things in perspective. If you're at home with your wife and taking care of business there and doing something, you may have to say, Mama, I can't come right now. Or can you ask somebody else to do it? Sometimes you have to say no, even to mama. As hard as it hurts. But you have to when you have a wife and when you have a husband. But now, neither one of you went into this blind. You both knew exactly what you were getting into. But now you just decided, I'm tired of putting up with what I put up with 4 years before I married and 6 years after I married, and you want a divorce. But if she sold the bracelet, or if she lost the bracelet, and she bought food with it, what can I say?
But the whole thing, it wasn't for the food. It was for she like
Even if she bought cigarettes,
You smoke
Even if she bought
cigarettes too,
alcohol,
so
I don't care. If she bought cigarettes, if she bought alcohol, whatever she bought with it, if it was for her benefit, which makes her your spouse, the benefit of the spouse, she can use the money.
Shouldn't I know about this? But I mean,
Well, in relationships, you should. And you should communicate with each other. But it's not my fault that the two of you stopped all this deep conversation all of a sudden and she started doing things without talking to you. But I can't reimburse you for it. I can't order her to give it back to you. I don't have any proof that she didn't use it for herself or for the household. I don't have any proof what it cost. I don't have any proof what the value was. And more importantly, if the bills weren't being paid, food wasn't in the house, cigarettes weren't in the house, you can sell whatever. Belongs to the two of you to get it. That's the law. So your request is denied.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
She just got
Never
tired.
figure that out.
She just got tired.
Well, he
was all
wasn't
fun
around
at one
often
time.
enough, and she found somebody else to fill the time.
Well, just like she went to him because she was lonely, and she accepted him being a mama's boy and lived with him, married him because she was lonely. When he started staying out, I guess, she fulfilled her loneliness again.
That's right.
And
She
went
went and
to
found
another
somebody
man.
else.
It's still not commitment. I was lonely. Not I was committed. Not I was in love. I was lonely. Okay, so when she learns, and both of them learn that that's not what marriage is. It's not about being lonely. It's about commitment.
A man's house is his castle. He's supposed to work, she's supposed to clean the house. I'm not gonna do it, I'm the one working.
My husband's stuck in the 50s. He believes a woman should be seen and not heard. Everything had to be done his way. Every single day, he had to have his clothes out, laid out before he went to work. His lunch had to be packed in a bag and waiting on the table for him by the door.
I couldn't get her to clean the house.
So it was your decision that you were the king, and she stayed at home and cleaned the house and waited on you.
That's what most women in America want.
That means that if I feel that I don't need to do anything but lay up and watch TV all the day, I can do that. If I feel that I don't need to do anything but go to the mall and shop all day, I can do that. If I feel I need to go to the spa all day and get pampered, I can do that. But that's not what you wanted her to do. You wanted her to stay home and do what you thought she should do.
Megan Strump says she's taking back control of her life from her husband, James. She wants him to pay her spousal support in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Megan Strump versus James Strump, and I'm advised that you've been married for almost 4 years. You want a divorce. You have 2 lovely children, and you want him to pay you spousal support. Is that right, Mrs. Strump?
Yes, it is.
Tell me about it.
Well, my husband abandoned me and my 2 children almost 3 months ago, and since then he hasn't provided anything for me or my children.
That's not right, Your Honor.
Yes, it is. You haven't even bought your son a bag of diapers in almost 3 months.
Okay, so how do we get to this point of a divorce?
He's a manipulative control freak, and when I finally stood up for myself is when he walked out the door.
How did he manipulate you?
Everything had to be done his way or the highway is how he puts it. His famous line he gave me all the time was, "It's my way or the highway, take it or leave it."
Okay, and so what was his way that you couldn't take?
Every single day, he had to have his clothes out, laid out specifically for him by 2:15 every day before he went to work.
What time was work?
He left for work at 20 to 3.
And the clothes had to be laid out?
Yes.
And then what else?
Then his lunch had to be packed in a bag and waiting on the table for him by the door.
And what were you doing during the day?
Let's see, at 8 o'clock, well, 7:30, I would get up every day to get my daughter off to school.
Okay.
Then I'd have to leave the house at 8:15. It was a chore for him to get up to take care of our son for 15 minutes so I could run my daughter to the bus stop. He never got up to run her to the bus stop, and when he did, it was an argument. It's like pulling teeth from an alligator.
Why, did he think he was too good to take the baby to the bus stop?
He wanted to sleep.
Oh, okay.
Because he
And
would
of
come
course
home-
you loved getting up early because you didn't like sleeping, right?
Right.
My
Because
problem is when a man comes home and his house is still a mess, and look the way he left when he left 2 days ago. I couldn't get her to clean the house. When we first got together, she knew how I was. She lived with me before she married me. She had no problem with it then.
So
she
how
didn't
were
have
you
a problem
before you
till
married her?
her family got involved. That's when she started complaining.
Okay, tell me, how were you before? How was she before you married her?
Before I married her, she was great. Your Honor, She'd have never had a problem cooking meals for me. She never had a problem with, having my dinner laid out when I came home from work. She's the one that started that thing with pulling my clothes out for me when we first got together. I loved it. She was a great woman when we first got together.
My father and mother used to say, don't start what you're not ready to finish.
I
If you
agree,
don't
Your
want to
Honor.
finish it, don't start it when you get married.
She sat there. She was one person when I first met her. Well, after we got married, she totally changed. She became money hungry.
Look at the pot calling the kettle black.
So you're saying, wait a minute, so when she was laying out your clothes, cooking your dinner, cleaning the house, and just being what you call the perfect wife, is that what you call a perfect wife?
Oh, she was being, Your Honor, I never had a complaint when we first got together. That's why I married the woman. She was very understanding, never had a problem. When we first got married, I told her, you know what, you don't have to work, just take care of the house.
So how much money were you making?
So I take care of my house.
Okay, so it was your decision that you were the king, and all she stayed at home as the queen and cleaned the house and waited on you.
That's what most women in America want. You're telling me that you would not like for your husband to go to work every day. You got the day to yourself. Do whatever you feel you need to do.
You do whatever you feel you need to do?
Right.
Yeah, if
after
I had somebody to say,
chores are done, I'd like to come and go as I please.
But you said two different things. Your husband go to work every day, and you do what you feel that you need to do. That means that if I feel that I don't need to do anything but lay up and watch TV all the day, I can do that. If I feel that I don't need to do anything but go to the mall and shop all day, I can do that. If I feel I need to go to the spa all day and get pampered, I can do that. But that's not what you wanted her to do. You wanted her to stay home and do what you thought she should do.
Only thing I wanted from her was an hour worth of chores done a day. That's how long it usually takes someone to clean a house, is an hour.
The house was
How many times? How many houses have you cleaned?
How many houses have I cleaned?
That was my question.
When I lived on my own, I used to clean my house all the time.
And how long did it take you to clean it?
I'm a very neat person. It takes me sometimes half hour to clean my house.
So
wash
what, you
the
have
dishes,
a
vacuum the
one-room
raw.
flat?
He's never lived
I'm
on
not
his
trying to
own,
be
Your
funny. You
Honor.
got a one-room flat?
No.
He lived in
Well, all the houses I've ever cleaned up raising 4 kids, it took me more than an hour a day.
Okay, Your Honor, she's complaining about cleaning. She's the one that wanted a bigger house. We lived in an apartment building. She was complaining the apartment was too small. That's why the house was cluttered.
Okay, wait a minute, though. But you told her she shouldn't have to work, that you would be the one to work.
She shouldn't have to get a job.
Okay, you told her to quit her job when you got married.
No, she had lost her job.
And you said
she was getting upset about it.
Hold on a second. So you said women shouldn't have to work. It should be you. Your responsibility as the man, right?
Right. Well, then when we ran into problems, when I ran into problems, she came to me and says, let me go back to work. I says, okay, I agree with that. Go back to work because the stuff in the house ain't getting done anyway. Get a job. She got a job. She'll hold it 3 days. Oh, I didn't like this job. I quit this job. Then she got another job. She kept that job. She lost that job. Then she come to me. Oh, I want to go to school. Well, why am I going to send you to school if you can't even hold a job? That's just
Tell
making
me
me
that you
more
were
bills.
on a job steadily for the whole 4 years.
No, I wasn't on a job for the whole 4 years. But when I had asked, Your Honor,
how many jobs did you have in a 4-year span?
I don't know, maybe 6.
Yeah.
6? So then that means that you were at a job and off a job and at a job and off a job, just like she was doing.
No, I was changing jobs for better benefits, better pay. She had came to me, Your Honor.
So every time you moved, it was a better.
For me, yeah, it was pretty much for a better. Your Honor, this last job I just lost, she asked me to quit my job.
Oh, come on, Mrs. Strump. You didn't tell your husband that, did you?
No, I did not tell him that. As a matter of fact, he's the one that made me quit every single job that I had.
What are you talking about? How did he make you quit?
Let's see. The first job that this is when we first got together, he threw $1,500 on my mother's kitchen table and told me, quit your job, you're moving in with me tomorrow. If you don't quit your job, I'm not going to see you anymore because I can't put up with your mother's bull.
That's ridiculous.
You had your turn. It's my time.
Oh.
My time.
And you said okay.
I was in love. I admit, I made the biggest mistake. I made two mistakes.
Just keep telling me what happened.
Since then, I was like, okay, fine. He said he had a job. He didn't have a job. He was working for a temp agency. That job got done. That job got done. He couldn't find another job. We ended up moving into our apartment. I tried to get a job. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find work, so he ended up finding work. 9 out of 10 times he was not working, and our rough financial situation started from the day we moved in. And it hasn't been any better.
No, he worked every day, I know. What do you mean 9 out of 10 times he wasn't working? Not when he says that that's his responsibility, and that's as a man, he goes to work, he brings the food home, he takes care of you, you take care of the house.
He wasn't working all the time.
When divorce court continues.
So you asked him to clean the house, and what was his response when you're sick?
I don't do dishes.
Oh.
It ain't my job to do dishes. That's what you're here for.
Is your marriage ending because your spouse's family kept interfering? Call us at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Megan Strumpf, who says her husband James gave her rules that she had to obey.
Then what happened?
When I ended up becoming pregnant with my daughter, I ended up getting very sick.
That was your first child?
Yes, that was our first child. And I was so sick at times, I was bedridden for days, and I asked him, please help me clean up the house. He would constantly have his friends. My friends didn't want anything to do with me once I hooked up with him. So all my friends hit the road.
Why'd you marry me?
So you asked him to clean the house, and what was his response when you're sick?
He would straighten up the living room, but he would leave a week's worth of dishes for me when I got better.
Because men weren't supposed to wash dishes.
He's only done dishes 3 times through 4 years of marriage.
Okay, but did he say that it wasn't his responsibility or what?
Pardon me?
Why wouldn't he wash the dishes? What did he say?
I don't do dishes.
Oh.
It ain't my job to do dishes. That's what you're here for.
So if the dishes are dirty and you're sick and you can't wash them and you're too good to wash them because you don't do dishes?
No, the thing.
So why you hire the maid to do them?
No, that ain't even the whole thing. What it is she said that she kept complaining that she don't like doing dishes. I bought her a dishwasher. She complained about the apartment she was in too small. I got her a bigger one, let her even pick it.
Wait a minute.
She didn't like the car I drove. I got a better, bigger car for her. Only thing she does is complain and want better.
Did you not wash the dishes because it's your attitude?
I wash the dishes. I throw them in the dishwasher.
Now, from what you've told me about the woman's responsibility and what she's supposed to do house chores, you're telling me that you believe that men were supposed to wash the dishes? Or is it your true belief that men shouldn't wash dishes?
No, I never said that. If the woman's sick, granted, yeah, I'll pitch in and I'll help.
You didn't.
Like she said, I clean the farm, I'll clean the house. Well,
Only if she's sick.
If she's sick or she's got a lot to do that, then yeah, I'll pitch in. But what I'm saying is, if you're asking me to practically kill myself and support your expensive everything you want, and she's loaning money out, doing everything, letting her family dog me, and saying I'm all this.
I stopped talking to my mother for 4 months.
Support your expensive everything you want. What have you had and given her that's so expensive?
Your Honor, when we moved together, I had one furniture set. She didn't like it. I had to go out and buy a brand new one. I had a television.
Hold on a second.
I had a used furniture set when we got together, Your Honor. She didn't like it. I went out and bought her a brand new one. She sat there. She didn't like the washer and dryer we had. I had to go out and get her new ones.
We didn't have a washer and dryer.
She did not like the.
Wait a minute now. You didn't have a washer and dryer?
Not when we
so
first
is he making this stuff up?
When we first moved in, we didn't have a washer or dryer. We had to go to the laundromat. Okay, the furniture that we had when we first moved in.
No. Let's talk about that. He says you had a washer and dryer. You didn't like it. He bought you a new one. So the washer and dryer you didn't like was the laundromat.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
We had acquired a washer and dryer from an old landlord of ours. They had given it to us.
Okay, so now Mrs. Strump, listen to yourself. You said we didn't have a washer and dryer.
That was
now
it
you're
first.
telling me that you got one.
No, that was it first.
She never liked nothing used. I'm the type of person, if you're selling a washer and dryer out of a paper for $150 for the set, I'm the type of person I'll come over there and buy it. She has to have everything brand new.
I was the one that took you to Mr. Seconds to get a refrigerator.
And she thinks she's terrible about not liking used things.
I took you to Mr. Seconds.
I've never seen a problem with using used products, used merchandise. I mean, you never bought a used VCR.
So tell me,
she had to have a brand new one.
So those clothes you have on are used or they new? You bought them new, didn't you?
Yeah, I purchased them new.
Oh, so why you just couldn't go get some used ones?
You can't afford everything brand new all the time.
But you didn't say whether you could afford it. You said, what do you believe in?
Okay, I'm sorry, but if you still can't afford it, if I can't afford to go out and buy you a brand new stove tomorrow, she'll throw a fit. She wants a brand new stove. She don't care. She don't want to hear.
So you think she's a selfish little spoiled brat?
Exactly.
I grew up without. That's how I always have been.
What'd you say now?
I've always grown up without. Okay, my mother struggled to raise 3 kids on her own after my father died. Okay, I've never had anything new. I've always had hand-me-downs from everything.
It sounds like you all are telling such a divergent story. She said, I didn't mind having used stuff.
He knows
He
that.
wanted everything new. Are you making this up and trying to sound
I wish I was, Your Honor. I wish I was.
The divorce court continues.
Before I left the marriage, I gave her a 6-month ultimatum.
No,
I said, you know what? Either straighten up or I'm leaving.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Megan Strumpf, who says her husband James wouldn't let her work or go to school.
What is he talking about?
Okay.
You were so money hungry. He said that 3
is.
times.
New stuff. He's talking about the stuff.
No,
that-
he said you're money hungry.
I am not
and
money
you were
hungry.
okay until your family got involved. You're money hungry.
Your Honor,
I didn't
when I
even
lo-
talk to my mother for 4 months for him. I gave up talking to my family because my mother and him were constantly at each other's throat from day one. But when my mother told me she didn't want me to see him, I still saw him.
So why does he say you're money hungry?
I don't know where he's getting that from. Money, how can you be money hungry on less than $200 a week is what he brought home? That money was
That's what
set
I'm trying
down-
to figure out. Where you rolling in dough?
That
No,
money
what
was
it was,
set
Your
every-
Honor, Your Honor, the
He
reason
got
I'm
mad at
saying
me
she's
if he
money
didn't have-
hungry is
he
because when I
got
left
mad
her
at me.
house,
Why do you say she's money hungry? Just tell me that.
When I left her house, before I
Because
left
I
the
gave you a
marriage,
list of
I gave her a
items?
6-month ultimatum.
No,
I
you
said,
did
you know
not.
what? Either straighten up or I'm leaving.
Straighten up.
Bottom line, yeah, it's gonna be my
Straighten
way or
up.
the highway. You're gonna
See?
straighten up and stop this, what you're doing, or I'm leaving you. I sat there with the intentions. When we left, we had sat in the front room, and I said, you know what? We need time apart. I left for 3
time
days, Your
apart.
Honor.
Time
Came over within those 3 days and kept giving her money. Within a month's time, I gave her over $500.
No, you did not give
She
me-
turned around 3 days after I moved out of her house, brought a man that she met off a chat line into her bed, my bed, and had him there all weekend.
Well, you
she
said-
bragged about
Wait
it.
a
I was only gone for a short period of time. I called her trying to work it
walked
out.
into my house
Stop.
with a hickey
Well, you
on
know
your
what,
neck.
Mr. Strump, you gave her an ultimatum out of your own mouth. My way or the highway, and I'm out of here. So she said goodbye. And when she said goodbye, good riddance. Close the door on you, open the door
Then
to
why is
somebody
she
else.
calling
You
me up
got
on
what
the
you
phone?
said.
Why is she calling me up on the phone crying, saying, I want to work out our problems? By the way, you got
Well-
$100? Oh, I want to work out our
come on
problems. You got
now.
$50? Come
Look,
on.
you
Yes,
have
son.
2 children.
And I have no
Stop,
problem
Mr.
supporting my
Strump.
children.
You
don't.
left her, and she wasn't working, right? So where else is she supposed to get money from the kids from,
Thank you.
except their father?
Thank you.
You haven't done anything that you weren't supposed to do.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
the day that I left, right after I left the house, I came down to the house a couple days later to bring her that money. My landlord was standing at my front door telling me that Megan wants me off the lease. There was no
You
chance of
took
me moving
yourself
back in the
off
house.
Well, you know what?
You told
said
the landlord
stop.
yourself.
You gave her an ultimatum. You know, you need to watch what you say what you mean, and mean what you say. And if you didn't really mean it, she called your bluff. You were bluffing, and she called it. So when you left, she closed the door. She said, I'm through.
But she kept calling me back, though.
Well-
I wanted you back for 3 weeks after. 3 weeks, I was a wreck.
Okay, now you want spousal support from him, right?
Yes, I do.
You want him to keep supporting you like he's been doing for 4 years, because you're the man of the house. You didn't want her to work because you thought you should take care of her. She didn't work most of those years you were married, so therefore you put her in a style of, you can depend on me. Just lean on me.
His new
That's what you
fiancé
told
ain't
her.
working.
Stop. That's what you told her. So now she's gonna keep leaning on you for a little while because you believe that you're supposed to take care of her. You don't marry somebody in 1998 and don't understand what century you're living in. All right?
I understand.
Hold
Your
on a
Honor.
second. If you marry somebody and say, quit your job, I'll take care of you, that's my responsibility. You set yourself up. You've put in motion a law that says if you take care of a woman or if you take care of a man for 4, 5, 6 years during the marriage, then you've said to them that I'm your support. And when the marriage ends, you've put them in a certain lifestyle of depending upon you for support and not working. So you know what we do as judges? We continue that for a little while.
The divorce court continues.
You just took the fire out of my order.
Sorry.
Boy, I hate to be sabotaged like that. I was really ready.
Divorce court continues in the case of Megan Strumpf, who wants her husband James to pay her spousal support.
So now, since you supported her because you believed that that's what you were supposed to do and she was supposed to quit her job, then I'm going to allow you to continue that. Because who am I to make you change your belief? I'm not trying to change you. I want to acknowledge and accept what you believe in. So, therefore, I'm going to assist you in that regard in order that you pay her spousal support. How much money are you making?
I'm unemployed right now.
Oh, my goodness.
She's the cause of me losing my job.
Come on. You walk in here, stop. You walk in here asking for spousal support from somebody that's not working?
Apparently, I was
got
told
me
he was
fired,
working.
Your Honor.
Apparently, I was told he was working.
You're working or not?
I'm
I
not
told he
working,
was
Your Honor.
working.
She
And
got
how
me
long have you been unemployed?
I lost my job about 2 weeks after I left her household. 'Cause she was
And you don't have a
constantly
child
causing my
support
residence.
order yet either, right?
Wait a minute. When I put in
Just
for
answer my question.
There's
you
one
have a
pending.
child support order?
There's
It's
one pending. Yes.
And 2 weeks after you separated, you lost your job.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jesus, you just took the fire out of my order.
Sorry.
Boy, I hate to be sabotaged like that. I was really ready.
Your Honor, what happened was
Just
is
be
I got
quiet.
her at work and
Be
she could
quiet. Unless you want to tell me something about you have a job. You get ready to put your foot in your mouth? You want to talk some more?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, I didn't think so. I would order spousal support except he's unemployed. I can't order if he's unemployed. On child support, I can order him to get a job and to seek employment, which I will do. There's a child support application pending, right?
Yes.
For spousal support, I cannot order it unless there is a means to pay the support. And you have to prove to me when you come to court that there is an ability to pay.
Last I knew, he had a job.
But you don't know it now. You can't prove to me. He says, I'm not working. You can't prove to me that he is. If you had brought me a check stub, if you had brought me a subpoena from his employer saying that he is employed here, then I'd have proof that he's working. I cannot order
He's working
support.
off the books. I know that much. But he's not working on the books.
Ms. Trump, are you listening to me?
Yes, I am listening, Your Honor.
So if he's working off the books, on the books, over the books, whatever, it's up to you to bring proof when you want spousal support.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the requirement is proving ability to pay. If he's unemployed, there's no ability to pay. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
So therefore, I have to deny your request today. Doesn't mean you can't bring it up again. That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
You got off.
Parties may leave the courtroom.
Boy, just took the fire from under me.
Pulling the rug out
Just
from under your
pull
feet.
the plug. Just pull the plug.
You were going. You're building up a head of steam.
Hated that. All that energy. And the man is unemployed. I'll be darned.
I didn't expect that to come up.
That was the last thing I
Yeah, he's
expected.
working all the time. I'm unemployed.
I want a divorce from Camille because I'm sick and tired of her not believing me when I say I'm sick with sickle cell.
I can't deal with the mood swings that he has due to his sickness, and I cannot be taking care of him as well as taking care of my 2 children.
So why you don't let the man run to the hospital and let the nurses take care of him
For
if he
what?
wants to?
He's not in that much pain. Hospitals are for sick people.
How do you measure the pain that another person's body is in? Who made you, God?
I know when he's in pain, but when he's not.
She hides my medication, Your Honor.
He curses me. He loves the B word.
The B that is in the CH?
Yes.
When I get mad, I'll curse anybody when I get mad. I don't care
Well, let
who
me
it
tell
is.
you something. You better not get mad at him. Because I will not excuse your sickness.
Now Camille says Henry lost his temper and wrecked their apartment, and she wants him to pay. In today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Camille Towns versus Henry Towns. And after 2.5 years of marriage, you're divorcing and no children, thank the Lord. I understand that you have sickle cell, sickle cell anemia, Mr. Towns, and Mrs. Towns. You think that that's causing his mood swings and he's just acting a fool as far as you're concerned, and you don't believe it's all related to the illness, right?
Yes.
So tell me what's going on.
Every time Henry, if he say he's having a sickle cell crisis, I'll say you could deal with the pain. Try and deal with the pain.
Okay, you know what? I'm
crisis
gonna
right now, Judge
stop. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not in the mood. Okay? I'm not in the mood for yelling over each other. I'm not in the mood for yelling and screaming back and forth between the two of you. I'm not going to have it. Okay? You happen to be the last one for the day, and I'm tired.
Okay.
I've had it up to here. Okay? I give you fair warning. All right? We're going to talk this thing through. You know, let's reason together. Tell me about it.
Okay, I love Henry. God knows I love Henry. Everyone could tell you how much I love him. But when he has a sickle cell crisis, he turns into something I've never seen. Most of the time, okay, I could understand he has sickle cell.
What does he do when he's going, when you say crisis, when he's having an attack?
He starts ranting, raising, his bones stiffen up. Okay, I rub his bones for him. I rub his legs or wherever's hurting him.
But I just want to be by myself when I don't feel well.
But
That's all I'm saying.
So you rub his legs and he does
if he
what?
has pain in his legs, okay, he'll take that. But then, I want to go to the hospital. He always wants to leave. He don't want to stay home and let me take care of him. He's my husband. Let me do it.
And you want to take care of him?
That's my husband.
So why you don't let the man run to the hospital and let the nurses take care of him if he wants to?
He's not in that much pain. Hospitals are for sick people.
How do you know?
Because I've been with him.
Excuse me. Do you have sickle cell anemia?
No.
Have you ever had it?
No.
How do you stand here and tell a person that you're not in that much pain? How do you measure the pain that another person's body is in? Who made you, God?
I have seen people with sickle cell. I know when he's in pain from when
So
he's not.
what? Everybody responds differently. I've seen them too.
But he has told me I could think it real hard and make my body go into crisis.
Okay, so now, if your husband is saying to you, I am in pain, I am in serious pain, I am hurting, I want to go to the hospital, why don't you let him go?
Plenty of times I tell him, go ahead. But
So
if
what's
he's
the
in that
problem?
much pain, he curses me. He loves the B word.
The B that is in the CH?
Yes, that's me to him. And now it's to the point
that
where
has nothing to do with your pain. It's not necessary for you to get rude, disrespectful, and to call people out of their names because you're in pain.
Judge, I do call her words when I'm upset and I'm hurting. But, Your Honor, this woman don't even cook for me. I stay home. She got 2 kids. I cook for the kids. I go to the laundromat, Judge. I do everything I possibly can, even if I'm in pain or not. She don't cook. I'm the one to cook in the house.
So if you're staying at home and you're taking care of the kids, obviously that means she's going to work, right?
No, she sit at home and play on the internet all day.
Oh, so you don't work either?
I stopped working in August due to my migraines.
Well, how would you feel if I tell you now, I know those migraine headaches wasn't hurting you that bad that you couldn't take yourself to work?
Oh, yeah.
Now, how would you feel if I said that to you?
I couldn't deal with life.
Stop. How would you feel if I said that to you?
I would feel hurt.
Uh-huh. So that's the same thing when you stand here and say to me that his sickle cell anemia wasn't that much pain.
Okay, it's not even that much.
It's real to you. It's real to him.
It's the disrespect, basically. I cannot deal with that.
Then let's talk about that.
No matter where I go, if we go to, we started my church. I took him to my church. Everybody in my church have known me for years. They heard about I used to fight when I was a child. When he come to church, my pastor had to break us up from fighting out.
I just tell your son's father calling my house all the time.
How long have you been married?
We got 2
years?
phone numbers, Camille.
2.5 years.
So who's calling?
Her son's father. We got 2 phone numbers. We got one for the computer line.
Calm down.
And all I'm asking her is to tell that man stop calling my private number. Use the computer number. Why you got to use my private number?
You have a private number at home?
Yes, I do.
What do you mean by private number?
It's a number for the house, and then it's a number that I use for the internet.
Okay, and you want the son's father to use the internet number?
Yes.
As opposed to the house number?
Yes.
And you guys argue over that?
Yes.
So now I'm going to ask you something. Stop. Didn't you know that she had a son when you got married?
I did know, but the man don't pay no child support. So how he called my house? He didn't pay no child support. He ain't doing nothing in the house.
Because
I'm doing everything. What you, a part-time father?
Because he donated the sperm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay?
I don't feel like that, though.
Well, I don't care how you feel.
I hear you.
I'm telling you what the law is.
I hear you.
Because he's the child's biological father, he can call that house.
Not my number. He can call a private number.
And you guys going to argue over that?
Yeah.
Not me.
Oh,
I
Lord,
tried to
this is
talk to him. I
foolishness.
said, Junior, evidently my son beeped him and put the 573 number instead of the 602, which happens because he's used to 573. His father will call and him. Why you calling him?
You know what? If
Blah, blah,
that
blah,
man
blah, blah.
called on the internet line, he'd say he calls too much. If he called at the
he
phone
asked
booth
for
on the
my
corner,
son.
you'd say it was too much. The problem is you're just not accepting the fact. Hold it. Just like you said out of your mouth. He doesn't pay child support. He's not doing what you believe he should do as a father. You're taking care of the son, so therefore you think that he doesn't have any paternal rights. So it wouldn't matter when he called, where he called, and how he called, because you feel that way, you would be upset, right?
Exactly.
Because you're taking care of the child, right?
Yep.
Okay.
He
now,
called my cell phone.
stop.
He get an attitude.
That's my point.
That's my phone.
When you marry somebody with another child by another person, you're not 2 years old. Common sense tells you that they're going to be in contact with the other person. If your ego is not big enough to allow it, then don't get into the relationship.
I should have thought about that.
Yeah, you should have given it a lot of thought.
When divorce court continues.
Didn't the two of you meet in the hospital?
Yes, we did.
Two sick people in the hospital together end up marrying together, and now you're complaining about your sickness to each other? Now that is sick.
Is your marriage ending because your spouse brags about cheating? Call us at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Camille versus Henry Towns. Camille says she is divorcing Henry because he has sickle cell anemia and refuses to control his temper.
That's not the real problem. The man calling the house for the son. You think he's calling for her.
Thank you.
Right?
All right, if you say so.
No.
He's
I'm
jealous.
asking you.
Do I think he calling for her? Mm-hmm. In other words, I know he calling for her because about 2 weeks ago, he came to my house and knocked on my door.
And what'd he say?
I don't know what he said because I didn't even go to the door. I just stayed in my bedroom.
So if he knocked on the door, was the son
lying.
there? Stop. Was the son there?
Yeah, the son was there.
So he can't knock on the door and ask for his son?
He can't come to my house and knock on my door and don't pay no rent in my house.
Come on now, Mr. Towns. You haven't been living in a cave. You know good and well when somebody is a parent, they come by to see the children and there's going to be contact. Stop making a mountain out of a mole. All you got to do is welcome the man in and say, Mr. whatever his name is, come on in and see your son. Or tell the son, go out and see your father.
That's what he do. The man don't come in my house. He don't come in my house.
That's your own insecurity that you have to deal with. And no one can deal with that but you.
I'm going to try to deal with it.
So the next thing you need to do is never marry a woman that has another child by somebody else.
True.
Now, are you feeling insecure because you don't have any children by her?
I don't want no children. I don't want to bring a kid into the world with sickle cell anemia.
So you've made a decision not to do that?
Yeah.
So somehow it may bother you that there's another man who has a child by your wife, he comes by to see your wife, and he may still have a little, tit-a-tat going on?
That's him, not me. I can't
Is that bothering you? Do you have that concern, Mr. Towns?
I guess so.
But that's your insecurity that you've got to deal with.
All right.
Shouldn't cause conflict. And didn't the two of you meet in the hospital?
Yes,
I
we
was in
did.
for migraines in March.
But
and
you
I
were
met
in
him.
the hospital, sick. You were in the hospital sick.
In March, I didn't even talk to this woman.
Two sick people in the hospital together end up marrying together, and now you're complaining about your sickness to each other? Now that is sick. You knew you weren't marrying a well man. You must have been ready to take care of him.
I was. That's my problem. I'm tired of taking care of people. Can somebody take care of me for a change?
So now that's what the real deal is. You're tired.
It's time for me. Growing up, nobody looked out for me. I bend over backwards in school, get good grades. Didn't get any recognition. Mm-hmm. When I met him, he wasn't working. He told me himself he lived on his disability. I said, well, you know what? Go to school, learn a trade. He went to New York restaurant school. Oh, I helped him with his homework because I said, you're going to do good.
So you were the one that decided that you wanted to help a man who was sick, not going to school, didn't have a job, didn't have a trade, didn't have any skills. Now that's your issue.
I always had a trade.
Yeah, that's your issue that you have to deal with. You feel that you have to give all of yourself to others in order to have them like you. That's your problem, right? Am I right? You're taking a man that's sick, on disability, not able to contribute, and you're going to care. You said, I'll care for you.
I give my whole disability check. What do you mean I'm not able to contribute? And I do the housework and cook every day.
So why are you complaining about the fact that she doesn't cook for you?
Let me tell you why I don't cook for him. My mother taught me how to cook and don't let no woman cook for me. I'm a chef. Well, you know what? You're a chef. I'm a computer programmer. I won't go in the kitchen. And I don't go in the kitchen. I cook for him twice.
Who go to kids' school all the time? Who go to them kids' school all the time?
How many children you have? Two? How old are they?
12 and 14.
And so now you guys are arguing over the kids?
Not my kid. I don't argue over my babies.
So you go over to the children's school?
You know why?
So now you feel that you're really the father for these children, right?
Yes, I do.
And you stepped into the father role all the way.
Yes.
And it bothers you that any other man has the audacity to come around and claim fatherhood.
Yeah.
Gotta get over it. You're the stepfather.
Stepfathers have no right.
They're very limited.
Oh, okay.
You cannot replace, nor can you remove the father. You have to love the children as much. You are providing for them because you're there with them. And out of moral duty and obligation, because you married their mother and you're living in a house, of course you're going to help. You're going to help with homework. You're going to go over to the school. You're going to play an active role in their lives. But just understand your role. Stepfather.
You know why he go to my kids' school? Because they beg him to go. They know I will lose it when the teacher tell me they messing up in school.
So he handles situations better than you do.
Yeah, cause
He doesn't lose control when it comes down to the children, but when it comes down to you, he loses control and yells and calls you name.
Always.
Now you know that that's not her name. Why do you think you have the right to call her that word?
And then he tells me, "Oh,
stop! I'm not smiling. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the way I was raised.
To call a woman a B?
Ain't nothing but a word.
No, you know
but
that's more than a word.
It hurts. I have
So if it's
cried.
nothing but a word, why don't you call it that when you're making love to her and you're feeling good about it?
Oh no, I'm baby, sweetheart. I love you then.
You know that's more than a word.
The divorce court continues.
You still live together now?
I'm still at home now. I ain't going nowhere. She can't put me out.
Who said?
What?
Thank you.
Is your marriage ending because your spouse is too controlling? Call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues in the case of Camille Towns, who says her husband Henry pretends to be sick so he can throw temper tantrums and verbally abuse her.
So what do you want him to pay you $400 for repairs to your apartment?
Because every time he go into his little mood swings, he stomped my fan.
Now,
During
I don't
the
see
summer.
anything in sickle cell anemia research about mood swings. What is it, the pain that causes you to strike out at other people?
Look, when I want to be alone, I just want to be alone. I don't want to hear no noise, so I just take something and throw it to relieve the tension, relieve the anger.
So is that really one of the side effects of that disease,
Yes.
or have you made that an excuse
That's
for your
his
behavior?
excuse. That's
It's
the
a
Henry
side
Towns
effect.
excuse.
Now, I understand when people are in a lot of pain and when people are hurting, I've been told by psychologists and by doctors and from the experience with my mother who has Alzheimer's that sometimes when people are hurting, they strike at the people they love the most.
Exactly.
And they hurt the people they love the most for some unknown reason. Is that what's happening with you?
No.
You really love this woman, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So why are you striking and hitting and calling her names?
When I get mad, I don't care. I'll curse anybody when I get mad. I don't care
Well,
who
let me
it
tell
is.
you something. You better not get mad in here.
I hate
Because if you get to cussing at me, you got a problem. So you make sure you don't get mad in this courtroom, my young man.
Yeah,
You make sure. Because I will not excuse your sickness.
I understand.
Because I do believe, isn't there some medication or something you can take?
Well, when I take the medication, she called me a dope addict. Because I take Percocet and Demerol. She called me a dope addict when I take my medication.
I hide them from him. That's all.
She called
Tell
me a
him to
dope addict
read the
when I take my
Bible.
medication.
Pray. I pray when I got a headache. and
Prayer
go
work, God
away.
work when he get ready, not when we want him to
Oh,
work.
come on, Mrs. Towns. Ms. Towns, you sounding ignorant.
She hid my medication, Your Honor.
You can't do that.
Can I explain something?
No. I'm
I
explaining
know I'm not
something
supposed
to
to
you.
hide his medicine.
You cannot hide. Let me tell you something. Hiding that man's medication and not allowing him to take it when the doctor has prescribed it in the manner that the doctor has prescribed.
Call me a junkie.
If for some reason he gets into an episodic state that could be controlled by the medication, he does himself harm or he does someone else harm, and you hit the medication that could have helped control his behavior, you could be criminally liable.
I know.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And not only that, one of those persons that he could harm in that state could be one of your children. Come on, think.
I don't want him taking so much pills. This
That
boy
is
has
not
the
for you to
Rainbow
decide.
Coalition. He has every kind
Are
of
you
pill.
Dr. Towns?
No.
I
Not
asked
for
her the
you to
same question
decide.
myself.
Not for you to decide. What's wrong with you people? Can't you figure out logical reasoning? I meet somebody in the hospital, he's sick, he's on medication, he take pills. What is the nature of your disease, sir? Sickle cell anemia. What does that disease do? What are the side effects? What does it cause? How am I to treat? How is it treated? What do I do? How
But
do I deal with you
these
as a person?
episodes always seem to occur when we have an argument.
It's not
or
true.
if we're
That's
not
not true.
speaking, oh, I'm having a crisis, I'm going to, you know how many times the ambulance that came to my door?
Okay, when did he tear up your apartment?
Last summer.
And were you still living together or not?
Yeah.
And he tore it up in an episode and it caused damage of $400. Still living in the house together, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. You still live together now?
I'm still at home now. I ain't going nowhere. She can't put me out.
Who says?
What?
Thank you.
I've been paying the rent there for the
Thank you.
for 5 months. I've been paying the rent there. She ain't got no job, so where
I
I'm going?
stopped working in August.
You know, I suggest
I'm
that
going back to work.
one of you You need to separate.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I already
somebody's
know
going to
that.
get hurt.
The divorce court continues.
Can the two of you live peaceably until December 29th? You stay in the bedroom? You have more than one bathroom?
No.
Okay, you guys got to take shifts.
Divorce court continues in the case of Camille versus Henry Towns. Camille says she is divorcing Henry because he is sick and she is tired of taking care of him.
I cannot order him to pay back this money. It occurred during the marriage. Who paid for it? Me.
Landlord paid for it.
Aren't you
paid
still
for the
living there?
fan.
Aren't you still living there?
Yeah.
Bottom line is, I can't order him to reimburse you for anything that occurred while you were still living together under the same roof, because any monies that came in there were community money.
Not according to him. His money's his money.
Well, unfortunately, according to him, I'm not him. Look at me good. What's my name?
I know.
So I have to deny your request, but I suggest that you move and hurry up and move. You plan to move?
We're going.
And you living in separate
29th, me and my
bedrooms?
separate. I sleep in my computer room with my computer.
So December 29th, you're out of the house. So she's gone December 29th. Can the two of you live peaceably until December 29th?
Sure.
Long as he don't come in my computer room messing with me.
Stay out of her room.
He can stay in the bedroom. I gave him the bedroom.
You stay in the bedroom. You have more than one bathroom?
No.
Okay, you guys got to take shifts. You got more than one kitchen?
No, I don't go in the kitchen.
Oh, you don't cook. He goes to the kitchen.
He told me he would never eat from a woman because his mother taught him how to cook and said, don't trust women. Then what you marry me for?
Well, you know what? Why are you upset about it? I mean, my husband liked cooking, and I
cook
gave
for my
him the kitchen. He could cook all
That's
day
what I
long.
did, and then he always
Why
throwing
are
it up
you
in
upset?
because he always throwing it up in my face.
He just told you his mother told him to do the cooking. You should smile
But she don't cook
and do
for
it
me.
cheerfully.
She don't want to do that shit. I'm not
Oh,
going in
you
the
guys
kitchen.
just want to complain about something. Get out of my courtroom. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
He won't let me cook for him. Ah, silly. He won't let me cook for him. He take too many pills. He's not in that much pain.
Tell her she's not in that
Yeah.
much pain when she starts having a migraine headache.
Yep.
Please.
Yeah, it's not. You're not in much pain if I
Father,
don't feel it,
deliver
right?
The things people do to themselves.